Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final episode of Juggernaut Bolt Action Podcast for version 2. For version 2.
Thank God.
No, you can left that.
You just said that, yeah.
So,
episode 60.
Hi, everyone.
Episode 68. Yeah.
And mic drop. There we go.
Boom.
And we're done.
So I'm Spurlie. That's Dan. Dan in the corner there, we've got Owen or Womble. And below me, we have got Crybaby Cheese Lord himself, Topher Buckle.
All YouTube comments are valuable, even the fucking stupid ones. It's all about the engagement. No, I mean,
Opportunity to learn.
What's that, Owen?
It's an opportunity to learn.
Opportunity to learn and to grow and to share one's feelings and opinions and to review them accordingly. That's what this show is all about. I must say, after
just because you've got an opinion, doesn't mean you're right. So
no. But that works both ways. It works both ways, right?
No.
My opinion's more popular than theirs is.
No. Look, I've read enough YouTube comments to know that the people on the videos are wrong and the people in the comments are right. So
Can't argue with that.
Mainly we're the wrong ones and they're the right ones.
I would say the last episode was the most controversial we've had in a while in terms of feedback and stuff. And I'm to this day, we're up to episode 68 now.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for 6 or 7 years, and I'm still surprised at people who haven't worked out who we are, because
what we're about.
poorly thought out opinions and hot takes is literally all this show is, and it's all it ever has been.
And even
So
they're
really
sketchy at times. It's like,
And also, being able to hold two completely opposite opinions at once and defend against either one at the same time is also something we're really good at. And also, 180ing our opinions literally 10 seconds later, that's also something we can do. Yeah. So, welcome to the Juggernaut Bolt Action Podcast. Episode 68! Yeah. How have we been, guys?
Good.
Not seen you in a while, Dan. You alright?
Yeah.
Still alive?
Yeah, I've been trying to get all the stuff together for my new fish tank, so...
Yeah, he's got a fish tank now.
Our hobby is now dead to me, unfortunately.
yeah.
Like, I know we all have, like, other hobbies beyond the main hobbies. Like, Owen's got his boats and now his Zumba. I guess that's a new one. That's weird, but okay.
It's like Elton John.
Just...
Did you see that picture? Fucking hell, it was tragic.
Yeah. Owen will be giving Zumba lessons live later on in the episode.
Why, Dan, why fish?
It's just my happy place, mate. It's just my calming zen.
And also, when they die, you can eat them. So, there you go.
Not these ones, mate. They're about that big. They're tiny.
Oh, that's like whitebait then, you know. Nom.
Yeah.
God, anyway.
Do you not have anything in your life where you just
what that he loves? No, he
just,
doesn't.
Well, yeah. No, like apart from your hobby and your family and your kids and all that, like just something in your life where you just have something where you just go, I am happy doing this, and it makes you happy, and there's nothing that can take it away.
Yeah, food. That's why I'm fat, Dan. Way to make this about me. That's awkward.
Yeah.
What's it? I eat my emotions. I have a lot of emotions. As we discovered last episode, I have lots of emotions.
He's in a glass cage of emotion.
Anyway,
I did listen to the last episode actually.
What was your thoughts, Dan? Was I too controversial for you?
Not really.
Was I the crybaby? Was you the commenter?
Yeah, I never. The only time I ever comment online is to take the piss out of people's pictures, like I did with Owen the other week. That's like my first comment in about 4 months.
I must say, with V3, as of about like 3 weeks ago, it was so much fun. All the shit talking and the posting, and every time Walder would do a new drop, and we would all jump on Discord and share memes and stuff around. And since all the rules have now pretty much dropped, they're all good. Like people have got the rulebook in hand and all that now. Obviously, it's not officially out yet.
Well, actually,
but some people
you say that, Toph. Australia, they have been receiving their pre-orders. So, certain areas of Australia, they have had their pre-orders delivered. They have got rulebooks in hand for the general public.
My point being, it's not fun anymore. To make jokes and memes and stuff. So what we're going to do for an episode is we're just going to send off V2. Because it's its swan song, it served us very well. It's how long has it been? 8 years in the running. It's been doing its thing. So we're all going to talk about our favourite game and how much we love it and how we're going to put it to bed and then start again for like V3, which is what, 2 weeks ago? Officially 2 weeks away at the time of writing.
Yeah.
So before we move on, any announcements or anything for this month? Anyone been up to anything exciting?
I'm not yet. Tomorrow I'm driving down to London for the South London Scrap. Should be good times had there, I'm sure. I think there's 20.
I specifically, I wanted to go with you and I didn't get told no, but the eyes.
Yeah, you got
filled
looked
me
at
in.
no.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like I didn't need to ask because I knew what the answer would be.
Yeah.
So it's like, can I? Yeah, I think the opinion was so if you're spending like 3 weeks out of the country out of the next month because of work, is this really appropriate? And I'm kind of like,
yeah,
kind of, yeah, no. So yeah, that'll be your last V2 tournament, won't it?
Yeah, that'll be my last 3 games of V2 tomorrow, where I am taking a horrendously underpowered 750 point list. Yeah, should be fun.
You can't just leave us hanging by saying it's a horrendously underpowered list and then not telling us what's in it.
Yeah.
So,
Can I give you a goal for all the times you've failed your pledges over the last few years?
Yeah.
Can you keep a record of how many times you're able to sneak a V3 rule in? Like just pretend you're getting it wrong and just put a V3 rule in, like
I'll just roll cover saves.
Like trying to take a cover save, yeah, or like officers snapping extra units around them and stuff like that. That'd be
Run
fucking
something
great.
down with a 7+.
Yeah.
Yeah, claim that you get to fight at the same time in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if the opponent foobars, get them to run off the table as well.
Run off the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got engineers on the list?
Pardon?
You can sort something in a building.
I've got demolition
and
charges. But yeah, so basically I've got 15. I've got 10 dice. It's 745 points. I've got so everything's veteran. Absolutely everything's veteran. Veteran medic.
Narrows it down.
Yeah, veteran
Medic.
Yeah, a 4-man officer squad, which includes an intelligence officer. 4 3-man PPA teams, so they're veteran, SMG toting, but they get to re-roll failed morale and order checks. So not all, which is good. They've all got demolition charges because if I don't buy everything, I get nowhere near 750 points. There's then 3 PPA jeeps which have got the double Vickers LMG on the front and the rear-facing pintle-mounted MMG, and a PPA Flamer Jeep. So, if the Flamer Jeep dies, game over. Pretty much.
Well, I hope your games are quicker than that description.
Yeah. Oh, they will be. Just as.
Well, Alex is also in the comments. And he says it's 4 games tomorrow, and he said he's only playing his last 3 games of V2. So clearly, by the end, to Dan's point, by the end of the day, you will be playing V3.
Yeah.
Well, move along. Tell you what, Alex. If somehow, by some act of God, I end up facing you in game 4, boom, V3. You know what you're doing.
Challenge, there you go. Challenge exception. What have you been up to, Owen? It's been a while since we've had you on.
Well, I spent my other half of Australia for 3 months and then painted everything I ever owned, I think, in a 3-month period, and then did no gaming at all because we came back and I had no credit left. It was just like very much a year. It was like, you're not doing anything now.
No fun, no time. It's not allowed.
No,
Owen's booked her a trip around the world.
we were currently discussing potentially sending it to Australia again this year for another 3 months.
Wait,
it works for him.
What's that TV show or meme or something where the guy's like goes up to her with like a £50 note? It's like, I'm going to give you $50 to fuck off.
Yeah.
I want to go and hobby.
Direct flights to Australia are a bit more than 50 quid, but yeah.
Well, I'm a poor man now, and once you're above 20 quid, I kind of lose all concept of numbers.
and in no place, I started sailing again, so yeah, I've been doing a lot of sailing over the summer.
And
yeah, and Zumba sailing and fixing my caravan. I mean, doesn't get much better than that, does it?
You can't go from more prestigious fixing sailing and yachting around the world to more white trash with fixing my caravan and doing Zumba.
But how does Zumba doesn't fit into either end scale? Zumba's often its own.
It's more white trash than yachting.
When you say white trash, I just
what you don't realise is Owen's the instructor, yeah, or at least some people think he is. So
I think get mistaken for a PT personal trainer.
I just imagine white trash Zumba. I just imagine some absolute massive American in a MAGA hat doing his like lunges.
I've just got to say, how unfit were the people that thought you were a PT? You know, that's going some, isn't it?
I also had my 50th birthday, and I'm still the youngest person in the class.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Is this one of those moments where we point out like the highest like prevalence of STDs is actually in old people's homes? Like, you might need to know that, Owen, for your future health, which is clearly nearer to your future than ours.
We could also point out that Owen's basically old enough to be all of our dads. So
yeah.
Put together.
I think Rich has got me beat, isn't he? I think he's older.
I don't want to compete, but as Rich in the Discord today told me that he'd be proud to have me on the Sundays, I would take that.
I tell you what,
I'm going to repeat the second part he said. We don't need to go into that bit. The first bit, though, I was very proud of.
No judging. In these times, you can both be our dads together. So, you know.
Juggernaut Bar and Podcast is an equal opportunities podcast. We love everyone equally.
And hate everyone equally.
You'd get Roger as a gaming granddad and access to...
I am ready for this extended family.
Roger and Gary Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh. So you got your Irish granddad, you got your English granddad.
Yeah.
Who'd be Scottish
Come
granddad?
on.
Ali's not old enough to be Scottish granddad.
Yeah, there's not
Scottish.
Paul Walker, yes, of course.
Yeah. So much love to our extended bolt action family.
Dave Nolan's your crazy Irish uncle.
Dave Nolan is you know Uncle Nobed at the wedding, and you only see him once every 6 months, and then you're like, for fuck's sake, Uncle Nobed, why are you here? It's Uncle Nobed. Yeah, much love, but
Dave will listen when this goes out on the actual podcast.
He knows we have a lot of love for him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop him being Uncle Nobed. Lastly,
as he's technically my boss, I have no comment.
Before we move on, last bit of news. You've been shopping, Spurlie.
I've been shopping?
He's been forgotten about what he's purchased.
Well,
yeah.
you say I purchased.
You went for cigarettes and never came back.
I sent you a link, and you went...
And then I brought it, I guess.
Yeah.
It
got delivered to your house. So...
And then you picked it up. What have you got?
Got a laptop. Yeah.
I was expecting something a lot grander than that.
No. This is.
It's not just any laptop.
Oh, here we go. The grand reveal. Have you finally put a sticker on it?
No, I didn't buy a new sticker.
You not even got a sticker on it. We basically, listeners, we brought a proper laptop now for gaming, running events, and streaming and stuff.
Shall I put that one on it?
Put that one on it. Put the Bosch and P3 day on it. There we go. And he's already started playing with it. So if you've been paying attention to the Leicester Juggernauts Facebook group about what we get up to on Tuesdays, you'll see a picture of Spurlie and Pete trying to get it all set up. It looks quite okay. Don't expect any YouTube battle reports anytime soon though, because as with all things, tin pot is the word that comes to mind. We're a bit shit at everything, but it's progress.
Yeah, I've not even downloaded the video off the laptop yet onto my PC to...
Okay, yeah, that's Yeah, okay, that's a thing. Cool. Any last shout outs before we get on with the show?
There you go.
It's got the sticker on it.
Yeah.
No? Okay. First segment.
Did we want to do...
Well,
Fucking tin.
Look, just because Pete's not here, we've not done the event rundown, of what's coming up.
Oh my god, alright. Look, it's V3. It's all a bit of a freaking mess so far. Other than Mincemeat coming up at the start of November, there's lots of events all over the place, like Bolt Action Introduction Day.
There is.
So the best thing you can do is go onto your local store or club page, and there will be something there, because it's all a bit hot right now.
Why are you sending people away, when they could go to our events calendar post with everything on, or come to our Discord, and it's all on there? But there's...
Have you kept it up to date?
Yes.
Actually, you have had it. You're looking at
Yeah.
Oh my god! In the month of October, you've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 events, of which 90% are in the UK straight away. And then in November, you've got another 10 or so. And I'm not saying the words, Bernie. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not happening.
I'll kick you off this podcast, mate. Come on. I've got that power.
Right. Sorry.
There we go.
I'm sorry. There we go. Right, can I
now do a Borat and just go, nah.
Get on the soundboard for next time round.
My name is Topher. This is Spurlie. He's a pain in my asshole. We compete at bolt action. He loses. I win. Or Spurlie wins. I still win tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
Right, anyway, I'm going to get on with the segment. Here we go. We don't have a name for it. We just have the reminiscent hour because
Memories.
V2's dying, guys. It's the end. It's the end of it all. So what I thought we'll do is we'll just spend the episode to talk about shit that we liked about V2, what we're going to miss about V2, and for a lot of us here and for a lot of listeners, V2 is all we've ever known as well for Bolt Action, because it's been around so long. There's actually not that many people who even played V1 anymore, so it's kind of just a big. So when we say, what do you like about V2, I think a lot of people might just say, well, that's just Bolt Action to me. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember obviously we came the Juggernaut podcast started 1 or 2 years after V2 launched, and that was 7 years ago now? 6, 7 years ago?
Is that really? It was how? Wow.
I didn't realise you were
I remember one of the GTs we covered. I wasn't going to be able to go to because my youngest son was born, and then he turned out he was born a bit early, and I managed to go to the GT. I might have been the first one, but he's 5 now, so work it backwards. How long?
Let's do Topher maps. Just say 12.
I could just tell you the date that you release the first episode if you want.
Go on then.
Go on then, since we're having a reminiscent hour.
It's the 11th of November, 2018. So
nearly exactly 6 years.
Nearly
6 years ago then, yeah. There you go. So we should have arranged stuff in advance, but we've not arranged stuff, so we'll just kick off and we'll go round in a circle. So I'm going to start with the first thing that I'm going to miss about V2, or at least what I liked about V2, was charging shit.
Oh, well, there goes one off my list.
Charging shit. Yeah, just blowing the horn, like that horn I took to the WTC and annoyed everyone. Used it once, got told off, don't use it again, and then someone stole it from me and then did it all around the hotel after I went to bed. Yeah, that horn. It's fun as fuck to just charge stuff. And do you know what I mean? Just go on, Owen.
This is because I was thinking about it because I knew what you were going to talk about this. See, I think the moment I'm not, people know me, I'm not massively competitive, but it was that third game at last game of WTC, and I came out and everyone's giving you that look that says, how'd you do? And I just went, clearly clock, motherfuckers. And it was face blue, double charging, 5 dice, 1 unit, 3 turns, charging the fuck out of someone's back line. Yeah.
There's no.
I'm going to have to be devil's advocate here because this is going to come up in the comments on YouTube. Crybaby McToeface down there. Yeah, you can still assault in V3. Close combat is still a thing. It's not going away.
It's just
not weighted in the favour of the attacker anymore.
Yeah, like, is it some negative or something like that when you do something and you just get no reward from it? That's what charging is.
That's called work. You know.
We'll have to see how things play out in V3 because I know like charging's been nerfed, but I'm still gonna have to try and do it because this is me. I can't give up on my dreams. But like, I just love the way that a game would change on a dime, where you'd be on the back foot and suddenly you'll win a combat that you wasn't supposed to win. Either you was like 11.9 inches in, and suddenly you managed to get in and caught your opponent off, or even worse, they would charge you and then they would fluff their dice rolls, and then you go,
yeah, this is the
most one you can have.
My first game with you guys in the doubles was
against me.
It was against you and Aaron, where
it was my paratroopers.
Your paratroopers went against like Inex
officer
and lost the game.
5 paratroopers, 1 inexperienced officer, lost. Not just 5 paratroopers, 5 SMG totem paratroopers.
Oh yeah.
So I had the potential to kill that officer 10 times, and I didn't kill him once. And
didn't like this might be a bit me. So, like, listen as well, comment if you feel. But didn't it make you feel a little bit smart when you managed to pull a good charge off?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If this is turn 4 and you deployed that way and you've been setting this up for like 3 or 4 turns, getting the pins around, moving up the board, getting into the position so you can strike first, and then you pull it off, you're like...
Yeah.
I think because... And it'll be interesting to see how V3 manages it, but it's a culmination of a series of moves to set it up. I don't know whether V3 will have that same culmination to get something into a position to win you the game potentially in one charge. It will still be there, but I think it'll be riskier. I think
it won't be something you can plan your whole game plan around like you can today. Like you can turn up with your army list today and be like, I'm specifically building this list to do that. To run at people, and that's probably not going to be a thing in V3. For better or for worse, we don't know yet. Not played it. Everyone keeps reminding us. Yeah, we get it, but doesn't mean I don't like charging shit in V2.
Yeah, and it's kind of linked to the horseshoeing out of round hard cover as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
getting that. So you're not left out. You're not losing out for playing cavalry, and it's all just linked together. And I think it'd be really interesting to see how the poll list rules and work out, because I do think the polls, when played well, look amazing, but also are really rewarding, but requires so much planning.
We'll find out.
The poll cult, God, so I have to give you. That's giving you a compliment. Didn't mean to. Sorry, that was accidental.
just gonna take that.
Yeah.
Oh.
As someone that lost almost every combat he ever fought in V2, I will not miss them. And I don't force them in the new rules either.
No? Oh, so you're just not happy no matter what happens, then, clearly.
just fuck combat off, mate.
Well, what are you going to miss, Dan?
Do you know what? Based on the new selector rules, I'm going to miss theatre platoons.
You know, Bo in the chat just put he's going to miss generic reinforced platoons, so you're now best mates.
Yeah.
Well,
not the generic reinforced one.
Not the generic one. Okay, you can be like near mates.
The generic one is a bit too bland. But some of the weird and wacky theatre platoons out there that you can get, not just like where you go Silo Heights, where it's just 1 to 2 of everything. I'm talking ones where it allows you to take a mortar platoon for like the Volsham Jaeger, or it allows you to do weird and wonderful stuff like the Cossacks or the Mongolian cavalry stuff. Yeah. That sort of thing was weird and wonderful, and I don't think you'll see that anymore.
It's funny you should mention Silo Heights, because guess what our good friend Graham is taking to the South London Scrap tomorrow.
Say no more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming they'll theatre selectors will still be a thing in some regard.
I can't see how they would be though, because you've got.
But all that the V3 rulebook has got is got a new platoon structure in the same that you could already pick from generic platoon, or you could pick a theatre selector. So what's to say in the future you couldn't just pick, the selectors out the book or a theatre selector?
I suppose they could have things like it will be 1 to 2 rifle platoons and then 3+ artillery platoons or something like that, and that's what your selector would be. And then they could give you a list of units. So I suppose they could do it. But...
And they could always, in the army books, release army-specific auxiliary platoons as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where couldn't you have like the tank platoon, the artillery platoon, but they could eventually bring out like a Japanese, I don't know, engineer bamboo platoon. I don't know. Yeah, bamboo platoon. There you go. Whatever. But I get what you mean. Like, I
think that's what comes. That's the thing about V2 was it was really mature. When I started playing, because I started painting Voltax and stuff in COVID, in lockdown, then played my first games when you're allowed to meet up in people's gardens. And I think it was such a mature game for me then, is that you already had so many of the theatre books that people had really got to grips with it. And then you saw it in the last 3 Soft Underbelly, Tough Guts, and Case Blue were the last 3, weren't they? They were excellent. And they were really, really good books, really thought out, historical, really good selectors. It got to that point where the writers and the game was mature enough that you could produce really, really good theatre selector books. And I think it will take V3 will take a while to catch up to that.
On that point, I really, really liked knowing the rules inside and out, because they've been there for so long, they hadn't changed in years, which meant we as a community could really just hone in on playing the game and understanding it. And of course you still had the odd learn something new, and Alex likes to always point out how it was only a couple of months ago he was still teaching me rules and stuff, which is all exciting. But for the most part, it was a very mature game system. Everyone knew their stuff, and it'll be years until we get back to that in V3. Years and years and years.
You could stand up at almost any event and everybody was playing the same rules. I've proven
reason. Yeah, you know, at one point,
when I went to France and played there, even though it was a completely different language, it wasn't difficult because everyone was playing the same set of rules. There weren't any local pieces, and I think that was again really powerful. And again, you see it at WTC. It was without having to call people in, everybody kind of knows the rules and just gets on with it. And this is particularly if you bring new people into that competitive scene. They will play 3 games, for instance, might be their first 3 games, or some of their first games, and everybody when they play against will be playing the same set of rules. They won't have to go, oh, hang on, I didn't play that way last thing. I think that was just a real bonus. It's very easy to get into because of the rest of the community.
Yeah. You didn't have to. There wasn't a million other people's rules as well to learn, was there? It was, if you knew the National Armour rules for each nation, you knew everything about everyone.
At least that's not changing with V3, right?
Yeah, they've simplified.
Well, I know we take the piss of the whole simplification, not simplified thing, blah 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 blah. But a man with a rifle is and still will be a man with a rifle.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate, for that.
And every national special rule is now the same national special rule.
Oh, Dan, no, we're being positive.
No, they are slightly different. They have tweaked them. So the American one is different.
I remember you saying that they're different because they've got italics in them. Some of them have, so that is massively different. So because you have to say it with an inflection.
No, the American version of rapid fire is on an advance or fire ambush, that kind of thing. But the British one is only on a fire order. Okay. So to get your rapid fire as British, you have to stand still.
Well, to that note, then, can we add things to add national characteristics of V2 to army rules, to what we liked? Because the national characteristics made the armies have their flavour, which was really good. And I really liked when they brought out the additional ones. So things like the Case Blue Italian rules and stuff like that to actually make them playable.
I was going to say, some of them were good, but some of them were fucking shit.
They had flavour to them, right? It's not like you get a Space Marine chapter and every single thing is exactly the same.
I'm going to hazard a guess at Owen's favourite like national characteristic.
Oh, was it when they finally made it Italians OP? Yeah, that
No,
one.
Avanti Savoia. That was Owen's favourite. He must love. He's a glutton for punishment. He must be to have gone down that route.
I mean, memorable moments is still when Pete took speed ice off me before the game had even started.
Yeah, prep bombardment,
And
and you were already Savoy.
I had to bring the whole army on. I had to bring the whole army on with a -3 to their morale checks. It was just like, yeah, that's game over. I think it's one of those things, character building, isn't it? They say.
Bolt action happens to it.
I tell you what, if that had happened to me, it would have been.
It's going to happen more than ever in V3.
No, if that had happened to me, it would have been like, it wouldn't have been character building. It would have been alcohol, blood level, building. Because I'd have just gone, right, Pete, let's go get a drink, like Dan did at the WTC with Gerwin.
I must say, actually, now we just mentioned WTC, and again, if you're in the comments, go read what Bo's putting, because Bo's putting some good shit down, which is how V2, we started V2 with it being a relatively, mom and pop in the garage sort of game. I think, our very first episode was covering the first GT Warlord ran football action. And then when they're now 6 years later, where competitive play is not a big scary thing anymore, it's quite a commonplace thing. We have the WTC and it's a very well-known thing. But I remember the first 10 or 15 episodes when we was having to argue every day just for our own existence about why competitive play wasn't like the doom of the earth and how it was going to ruin it.
We still have to argue that.
But it's so much easier now.
There are about 15 more people on our side, so
that's true. That's true. Yeah, as a white man, I need my safe space.
Are you?
Yeah.
I agree with one of those. I agree with one of those statements.
Well, I need a safe space. But if you at least everyone's meta is going to be different. So I'm obviously speaking for what I understand here in the UK. But if I say I'm going to run a tournament this weekend and it's going to be a hardcore competitive event, we could probably quite easily sell that event out in a way that we couldn't have 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That whilst it's absolutely not perfect. Even in our own Discord, who was it the other day was coming in and someone was asking for list advice and they went, "Oh, just take what's fun. Don't always try and win all the time." And it's like, you do know where you are, right? It's the Juggernaut Discord. If we like competitive play, that's what we talk about. Is it the only way to play? No. Is it the one we prefer? Yes. It's, and that's why, and as I say,
spoken like a true cheater. Yeah.
Like a true whacker.
Look, to summarise it, the competitive scene has evolved in a good, strong way, and it's very strong, and it's stronger now than it ever has been. And I'm happy about that.
It's also nice, we aren't responsible for that solely, or maybe even partially, but it is nice to have had a hand in that. To take all that flack at the start when we set up to be the competitive guys everyone hates on, but now everyone comes to us for that.
I think what we've done is we've just taken all that hatred so that the other guy can just...
We've taken all that hatred and we've bottled it up inside.
Let it blow through you.
And
but to be fair, the first I went to big Moody's event. I went to the Big Bash, wherever it was, a few years ago. Second event I went to was I did doubles with Moody. I've only ever met it, that thing. And then we came up the night before, and you guys took us out, and we went out for a curry. I mean, it's like, that's not the competitive whackers that people think. It's that community. It's like, yeah, let's all just go out and curry. Otherwise, I could have been sat in a hotel in the middle of nowhere, like Curly Muxlow, just sat on my own, just like, what the hell am I doing here?
Is that one when we went?
Point of view is very different.
That's the one when we went down to the all you can eat, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. That was good night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love. And I really hope that we find a good spot in when V3 comes out, because for me, with tournament, going and playing games and rolling dice and bringing home gold and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it's important, but it's also only half the story. The camaraderie of going and meet and going to events with people, the whole let's get up at 5 a.m. and drive to the opposite end of the country, let's go and get a hash brown and let's take, let's laugh at Dan when he's yelling at strangers at the airport because they pulled over at the wrong spot, you know, and then let's laugh at, you know, going to Chateau the Topher and then Topher getting sick because Luke fed him shitty squid. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's these stories that like that are the memories that carry you through. And if V2's given me anything, it has genuinely given me some lifelong friends now that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for V2. Yeah.
There was the Alan chat in the airport as well, wasn't there? That was hilarious.
Even today, Alan can't put his head up in the Discord without 100 people who don't even know him shouting Alan.
I wish I'd have got the phone out and recorded that.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was this year.
Don't leave me, Alan.
That was this year.
No, it was the first one. We did it again this year because
it was this year.
Oh,
it was last year. Yeah. Oh God, listen.
It was Poland, wasn't it?
It was the first Spanish year.
Oh, so
the first Spain year.
Oh, was it?
Okay. Spain, yeah, first year in Spain, yeah. Yeah, because the first two WCs, the Polish one, the Irish one, was good, but it was when we was really struggling to actually like get the competitive scene to be a bit more beyond just us. And it was after that when we finally got to Spain, it kind of snowballed a bit.
As well, didn't we?
Yeah, that's. So there we go. So that's another thing I don't want to say I'll miss about V2 because it's not going anywhere. But one thing I do appreciate about V2 is just the way it brings people, you know, brought people together, and the fact that there's now a handful of countries that I can go to, and if I ever visit there, I know someone that I can just send a message to and go, "Oi, I'm in your country. Let's go for a curry."
I really want to go out to Newfoundland and meet Hurley.
Meet Hurley.
I really want to go out there. It looks fantastic.
I tell you what, he's going to love that because he is popping off in the chat about all sorts at the minute. So.
Really, I didn't think I've got the code open.
Yeah.
Just go to Newfoundland and find your local Costco. I'm sure he'll be right there ready for you. So, Spurlie, what about you? So this is like your first. This is all you've known for bolt action, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What do I like about V2?
Being a whipping boy.
Not always. Only for you guys. Yeah. I am the first step on the ladder of success. That's what you need to think of me as. You know. That bottom rung, yeah, that's got my name on it. And once you've climbed over me, then there you go.
To be fair, Spurlie, for all the shit we give you, you do kind of hold your own at tournaments. Like like that mid-table obscurity is strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are a good player. It's just unfortunate for you that the club you are in has probably the two best players in the UK.
That's what I like about V2.
Yeah.
V2.
Being the top dogs.
Tell you what, a week on Thursday, my time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was good going, like, because we aren't wankers or anything really, but when you go to an event and you rock up against a new player and you go, "Hi, how you doing? I'm Dan," and you go, "Oh, not Dan. Oh God, I've got to play you. Oh, not Topher. Oh, I've got to play you." And it's just nice to be like, "Yeah, you got to play me, mate. Sorry."
Yeah.
Especially when they're actually playing Alex, not me, and he's just being a wanker about it.
Yeah.
So for me, then, it's rather than being V2 specific, it's bolt action specific because, see, I'd come back into the hobby to play 40k, and you guys basically turned around to me and went no, gave me a bolt action army and was like, there you go.
Well, Topher did, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, it was a mixed Grimes as well. Grimes gave me the Firefly.
We kind of jumped on. We dog powered you with hobby starts.
Yeah. But for, like, it's the big thing is the dice dynamic, and that's what makes the game the game. If it was you go, I go, it would just be any other generic tabletop game. But, you know, that dice bag.
I'm surprised more. I'm surprised there hasn't been more games adopt the dice bag mechanic.
I know.
Yeah.
Legion does. That's got tokens.
It kind of does. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's got some weird tokens. Yeah, I can't get on with Legion, but like, it's such an obvious. it's not obvious, but once you've played it once, it is obvious. Do you know what I mean? It's like you play once one game of Bolt Action, like, why doesn't every game do this? It just seems the most obvious thing in the world.
It's a far better system than the I'll have a full turn, you have a full turn. Because when you're playing things like 40k, that full turn can be the deciding factor in a game from turn one. So it's like, well, why the fuck am I going to play the next 5 turns?
Owen's face knows all about that. Didn't we, Owen? When we played 40k?
The entire infantry metal cassock with custom vehicles that lasted 2 turns against your tower.
Yeah.
Months to build.
Yeah, Owen had his lovely project. He'd been working on it for months. Some of the models are older than I am. It was painstaking details, getting all the camo. He got all the helicopters and modelled them down to a T. And then some whacker twat with a checkbook and a white spray can just deleted an army in 2 turns. Yeah. Look, at least in Bolt Action, when you lose, tends to be a nice, slower, drawn-out affair. You know what I mean?
It's a fairer loss, though, isn't it? Yeah. At least it's like you get a chance to say, or you get a chance to act to try and prevent it, rather than just going, you've turned up with this list, it's going to destroy me in 1 turn. There's nothing I can do.
It takes you 5 turns to get to the point that 40k takes 1 turn to get to.
Yeah.
Because once you've lost enough dice, you can't, you lose that effect on the game.
Yeah.
But the game is, you basically had to play the whole game to get there, though, rather than playing 1 turn and then knowing the next 4 turns are a waste of time.
I think any game which is difficult to table someone is a good game in my book, because you want to keep the models going. Because you spent all those hours building, painting in them, and obviously, putting tufts on them and everything, and it's like your babies. No one wants to be like, first turn, get in the bin. And like, whilst there's an element of that in Bolt Action, because cheeky 6, Bolt Action happens, woohoo! Like, by and large, stuff doesn't really start dying properly until like turn 3 or 4. And I love that about V2 as well. Like, the first 2 turns would be your setup. Turns 3 and 4 was when all the shit would go down, and then turn 5 and 6 would be like when you're mopping up, getting your objectives, that kind of thing. Unless it was a real tight fight, and it'd be like, well, turn 1 to 4 was all positioning, and then turn 5 is like,
But then each of that, you take that, but then you add in some of the new missions, like the one that scores objectives from turn 1, and it completely throws it on its head. And I think until you've played it, I don't think people really realise just how incredible the dice is, because it affects everything. How many dice have you got? People talk about, I'm taking a 14 dice list or a 12 dice list. It's a defining part of everything that's part of the game. I was just thinking of my cabinets. I've got 4.5 shelves of 40k and 2 of Italians, and I think I've played 3 games of 40k since COVID. That's it.
Well, since the new edition came out, we had a bit of a kick of it at Club for about 3-4 weeks, and then it just died a death. I think the thing with 40k, and I've done, and this definitely happened to me in the last edition. It's happened the last couple of editions of Age of Sigmar as well, where they'll bring out a new edition, and you start playing it, you proper hype, you buy into it, and then you blink, and suddenly 3 army books have come out, and don't know what's happened anymore, because they've released a new General's Handbook, new army books, the meta shift, and you're like, what? And like, whilst we've famously been moaning and whinging for V3 for a long, long time, it has been the joke for Age of V3. I do appreciate that. For everyone moaning about having to buy new books and stuff, it's been a long time coming, and things haven't really changed that massively. Every 3 months you'll get 1 new campaign book that might bring a couple of options for maybe 1 or 2 armies. And even that's only at the highest level, right? For you just playing at club or playing in your garage. Yeah. The game, there's been that. I don't want to say stagnation, because that makes it sound like a negative thing, but there's been that level of stability that you can just buy your army and build it and paint it, and you can be guaranteed that by the time you start to the time you finish, it's the same army and it'll work the way it was supposed to work. Yeah. Well, if Warlord did their release schedule similar to GW's, if you assume a new codex comes out every 2 months, if we're being generous, sometimes they do 1-2 at a time, sometimes it's 1 every 2-3 months. There's how many army books in Bolt Action? If you include things like China and Australia and Canada, like 8, 9 maybe. So you're looking at a new edition every 18 months to 2 years based on that, and that would just be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
So I've seen that. I know, Spurlie, you made a post on the Facebook page a couple of days ago about the new release schedule.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of comments about how, like, oh, it's taking so long because there's going to be 3 months between each army book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's actually perfect, because you get the book, you can read it, digest it, play a few games of it, see how it affects, your local event scene, meta, whatever. And then the next one comes out, and it'll keep the game slowly churning and active for a good 2 or 3 years. Isn't that all? Isn't that what we all want? Do you know what I mean?
But if you're a Japanese player, you've got to wait a long time, and so they're
If you're out before the Beastmen get redone.
The Beastmen are going to get squatted from Tau soon. Telling you.
We know though that Warlord will bring out the 5 or 6 army books that they need to for the main armies. Then they'll throw in a couple of campaign books, and then maybe do like an Armies of China, and then another campaign book, and then maybe an Armies of Australia. Hopefully, but you'll get your Germans, Brits, Soviets, and that in a timely fashion.
I know frighteningly few bolt action players who don't have more than one army.
Yeah.
I can't actually think of any off the top of my head. Everyone I know has at least one army.
Even in this chat, I mean, Owen's got 2 or 3.
Owen's the closest person I know because he's obsessed with Italians. He's still got Germans.
I have got Germans, but they're not finished painted yet.
No, but you've got them.
I've got them. I could run them.
What are they? Are they German or are they Finnish? Which?
Well, there you go. Spurlie's technically the newest member of our club to play bolt action, and he's got like 3 or 4 armies. And even for things like the Germans, he's got 3 sets of Germans.
Yeah,
it's 3 sets of Brits.
I've got like 7 armies. You've got 8
Germans.
or 9 armies.
I've got the Soviets, the Germans, and then I've got 3 different sets of Brits now.
Yeah. So.
And also, like, whilst the editions is new, and whilst we're all using like the army list at the back of the book, and we're getting the PDFs and stuff, like, if your army doesn't have specific rules yet, say if you're like a crazy man who's made yourself a Czech army or something, or Slovakian army, just counts as it as something else.
Yeah, that's what my Belgians do.
Exactly.
They're just fine. Everything that isn't a major faction.
Exactly. Have you got a Chinese army and I haven't got rules yet? Just use the Japanese army. Like,
I think it's quite telling.
Find equivalents. Man for rifle is man for rifle.
Also, it's quite telling that, considering how leaky the actual main release has been, there's not a single PDF of the non-main faction PDFs have come out.
That's because they didn't give them to the Americans, clearly. Oh, sorry.
There's not been any hint of those.
No, the only thing that we've ever seen or heard is out of the rulebook. Nothing outside of the rulebook, I don't think, has actually been given out to anyone. No,
and obviously the army lists that are in the rulebook have leaked.
Yeah.
But none of the PDFs or stuff. They're probably still writing them now. Do you know what I mean? Alessio's probably strapped in a garage. We need this in a week. Get to it.
That's why I asked for light mortars on my tank.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what? I bet they haven't finished writing the PDFs yet.
Can I add a topic to the what do we miss about V2?
Of course.
The FAQ. Because it gave us content for months and months, and it was a never-ending joke, wasn't it?
And I do like that V3 is going to start off strong again, because we're already arguing about when you rolls to cover saves and stuff. So come on, don't let us down.
Let's add that to the topic as well. Rules that don't say this is optional. I like that about V2.
No, even in V2, because every so often you had like the minefield rules, the barricade rules, the putting in a squad and 2 Bren rules. That was always and
ask your opponent.
Not a core rule that you're never going to see, like minefields. No one ever played minefields.
I kind of hated it, but I also kind of loved it. And I moaned about this I even had a rag section on the previous episodes. I don't, like, long-time listeners will definitely know this. You know, when people would ask the simplest of rules and get the stupidest of answers. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd have, like, someone on the Facebook page going, what? type of gun does my IS-2 have? Does it have a heavy or a super heavy? And then you just be like, right, well, back in 1938, there was a German designer called Hensel Schnickler, man, and he thought that the gun was this big. Anyway, he did some research on it, and it'll be a 100-page diatribe, and at the end it's just like, yeah, it's heavy.
LMG.
That's it, yeah.
But isn't that also one of the? I think that's one of the things that got me is that not starting up the competitive versus non-competitive for the historical people, but if it wasn't for bolt action, I wouldn't have a whole shitload of books about Italy in World War II, including like biographies of Mussolini and various different technical specs and manuals and books about the Alpini in the on the Eastern Front and stuff. It's like, yeah, I can, when I do run my AV40s and AV41s backwards towards you, I will go, well, actually, I think you'll find that in the desert, they did run them backwards because it put the engine between them and the incoming fire rather than the fuel tank. And it's like, yeah, I can do that. Historical well, actually, even though I only go to competitive events. Nobody cares.
Well, the secret sauce, Owen, is that you can be interested in history and competitive play at the same time, and the lines may not cross, but that doesn't mean that the lines aren't both important.
Hot take.
I have
Hot take
definitely
right
gone
there.
out of my way. I've definitely gone out of my way to learn more history, and the game has taught me more history as well. Like, even just reading the rule book, even though it's very vague in the rule book, but reading the campaign books when they're coming out as well, you get a bigger sense of what happened, and you'll hear about something and you'll go and find a video on YouTube to learn about it, or you'll pick up a book and try and find out more about it. So it does make you more of a historical person, not necessarily in a gaming sense, but just in an overall kind of appreciation for the timeline.
Somebody said Japan didn't have any engineers, and then was Alex was like, well, I think you'll find they had X number of battalions, and the other was like, yeah, the England AWCC captain is spouting historical accuracy.
That's because us competitive players are all there, that justification for why we can cram 15 flamethrowers into a single list. We're ready to go. So if someone says that's not historical, we go, well, actually. There was a game I played really early in my bolt action history. I think this was back in V1. It might have been very early V2. And this guy had brought like 8 or so Indian carriers. You know, the recce carriers with the wheels. And like he was wrecking them all over the place, left, right, and centre, blah, 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 blah. And then he was like, don't worry, this is well historical. And he pulled out his phone and showed me videos of these vehicles doing donuts in the desert. And he's like, see, I can do this. Meanwhile, your Panzerfaust missed. Just like, all right, mate, well, justify it however you want. I don't care.
Yeah, I do have that picture of the light mortem. I have that on my phone, which I could roll out if I needed to. But no, I think that's it. Is that, as you're saying, I've learned so much more about a part of, even though I had relatives at the casino, I hadn't really ever looked into it. But now I have a much greater understanding of it. And I famously don't care about law. 40k law, not interested. Any other law, couldn't be interested in the slightest. It's not that I absorb law, whatever happens, game I'm playing. I kind of famously don't. I mean, I could probably do Primarchs and that's it. Even though I've got a gazillion 40k figures. So I think it just sparks that interest. Also, you'll go searching onto Paint and Glue or any of the other websites, and you'll find some really obscure 3D model and go, what was that? Or, does somebody do one of these? And it just piques your interest.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're at if you go to an event and you see someone who's just got a weird model and you're like, what is that? It's like, well, actually, they made 2 of these and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, cool. learn something new. And I still can't pronounce that German tank with like the 4 machine gun turrets, the Nachfolgebezeugel thing. I'm sorry, German people. It's got a very pretty name. I can't pronounce it at all. But,
Daka.
Is it the Olga's as well? I don't know the full name of that.
That's one thing I won't miss is Daka tanks.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to miss them though, because they're going to be right. They're going to become right back again. They're not gone.
Well, no, because half of the shots is fine. So, hello. So half the shots is fine. So it at least tones them down a bit because they were stupidly OP. And that's coming from someone who used Stuarts and M1542s.
Yeah,
it'll be nice to see different stuff. even if it turns out to be not that different.
But I think that's one of the things about V2 though, is it was so mature, and people have been to so many events that our chat would often be full with, yeah, I'm going to do a Romanian, or I'm going to do a Belgian, or I'm going to do a Hungarian, or I'm going down the Japanese route but playing it with veterans, or I'm going to do the militia thing. It got to the point where people's collections had expanded, and everyone was like, yeah, I'm going to do the X version of it, or I'm going to try a different thing, and does it work, does it not work? And I think that was one of the things, is you're getting very good players choosing to go to events to see how they can do with something that is not meta, for want of a better term. So this idea that everybody's running the maturity of the game, and
that's all he was doing at the end. When it
That's exactly what I was doing at the Welsh Open. I knew what the meta was, and I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to take this just to beat those lists. I didn't care how it performed against anything else. And it worked. And it's good as well, coming up with different metas, like the surrender potato list. Everyone kind of like joked around a bit about it when Case Blue come out, but
and then they all sat up a bit when they got everyone sat up a bit when they got shoved up their arse, didn't it?
When I came up with that, and people were like, yeah, but it's fucking Italians, mate, what are you going to do? It's like, yeah, but it benefits from not having any of the Italian characteristics, because of Anti-Savoia will not work on this list because you can't fucking touch it. And it became a meta for a while. It was great.
The irony of that Italian list, though, is that seems very much on par for what we're going to get in V3. Don't you think? Like lists like that are going to be.
I'm not upset to look at my collection and go, I've got armored transports. I've got
it's interesting. I tell you what, though, I had some of the most fun I had was dicking about with my tigers and trying to maintain the Tiger King and just going to events with like 2 tigers and stuff. Because not only to toot my own horn, pretty damn successful with it. Won a couple of events. And also, just when you turn up at people and you go, yeah, I've got my 2 tigers, and they go, oh, all right, you're funny, and I'm like, yeah. It was always. I liked V2 for stuff like that because even though there was the meta and stuff like that, you could get so much further ahead with a shite list just through trying to play it through it as hardcore as possible in a way that you can't with other games. Like if you're playing fantasy and you want to bring nothing but 400 Skaven clan rats, you're going to lose.
Yeah,
not Martian though.
Sorry, how many was that?
I really enjoyed the trying to outthink the meta chasers, like by taking Belgians, by taking the French to the Welsh Open, by doing the Italian surrender potato list, while everyone else is just copy pasting Bo's list off of his YouTube channel to take friends and Gurkhas, and it's just like, well done you, mate. You own a printer. Well done.
And I think that also changes because I think for me is that I was very much a quick painter, wasn't that interested, but just sit here, I can the other side of it, I can see it as best army, best painted. I think that changed. I was just thinking about how many paints I now own and how I'm not completely obsessive about it, but I will try and get the right sort of colours for my German tanks, or I try and make them look good. And I think it's V2 again there's so much wealth of it, and it's because you can play almost anything, you get the opportunity to put everything together. And I use it as an excuse to improve my hobby a lot.
Yeah, the painting range that you can do with Germans in particular, especially for all their different camo patterns that they've got. Yeah. That is a really fun project. Like I tried to do my Fallschirmjäger historically, and they look really good, but I wouldn't want to paint them again. I might want to do Autumn P. Dot one day, but
I'd love to do that.
Figures to Autumn P. Dot.
No. Yeah, I know Sheffy's done like 1 unit for his Hungarians or something, and then gave up. So
yeah, he was like, "They are now my veterans. I will not do that."
Or you go down Luke's route and just paint them pink and purple.
Just do orcs as his gun crew for his Soviets.
Man's just a troll. That's all it is. Though, how much, another thing to do a bit of reminiscing, how much easier to paint bolt action armies today than it was 7 years ago. Just since Dan Cover Your Ears, just since Games Workshop released contrast paint.
Yeah.
For bolt action especially, it's like, yeah, but for bolt action it's perfect.
No, I know what you mean.
When all you're painting is fabric, and you just go, boom.
If you can get contrast to work for you, like there's some people out there that can get them to work, especially over Slapchop, and make them look really good. I personally don't feel like I can get a good enough contrast base to make the highlights on it not look stupid.
You just
so I have to paint properly.
You just need to put more on your brush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's like the whole two thin coats.
No.
You
By metal figures, they work with contrast a lot better.
Yeah.
Also, so
right.
it's not so much your non-oil dip the model in, but it's definitely like you chuck the paint on it. Just slap it on. Slap it on. And if you go wrong, it doesn't even really matter. Because, you know, if it goes wrong and people go, it looks rubbish, you go, yeah, just contrast in it. So, it's a win-win.
Fair, like, German camo is perfect for airbrushing as well. That's just like such a great, if you just to have a practice, pick up cheap German 3D prints and to practice just your airbrushing on those. They can look really good.
Yeah.
Oh, really quick.
Airbrushing tanks. How quickly you can do them.
That's said though, 3D printing has come on so long as well. Like when we first started, do you remember when people would bring their little shitty FDM prints out and then
I've got some of them. Lego Man drivers.
You look, so it kind of looks like a vehicle, and it would cost you 20 quid for that. Whereas now it's like, yeah, I can just print off, 15 Shermans, 20 minutes. What do you need? And they come out.
Do you know what?
Perfect.
We were talking earlier about the community, and the bolt action community is, compared to other things like 40k, it is far better. There are still grognards in it. There are still wankers in it. You're going to get that in wherever there are people, right? But the ability for the bolt action community to just rally around and help each other out, like the amount of times you see people online saying, "Oh, I need this. Has anyone got one?" And people just go, "Yeah, I've got one, mate. Have that," and they're done. Or when we go to events and we win prizes, you just give them out to random people and just say, look, you're starting new army, there you go, have that. And we've all done that because we've got so much of it ourselves. But the one for me was when I needed some stuff for my French army for the for the Welsh Nationals, I messaged a couple of people on our Discord channel and said, look, do you have this file? And one of them said, I've got one of the files you need, here it is. And another one, I think it was Dewey Cat.
Yeah.
I reached out to him and said, look, have you got this? And he said, I haven't, mate, but if you can find me this base file, I'll modify it for you. And I said, I've got the base file, mate, here you go. And then he modelled up the model for me and gave it to me and he said, let's just print it off and use it.
I may be misremembering, so I apologise if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Dewey Cat made the file for the PPA Jeep and chucked it on Wargaming 3D after hearing our review of whichever book that was, and then kind of went, buy this one now. I think there'll be people out there who don't 3D print, they don't know about 3D printing, but they might buy the odd model off eBay or off their friend, and they have no idea how much the likes of Dewey Cat and and Graves and everyone, just the amount of just like physical models and stuff that they have produced that keeps the whole hobby alive. Right? When you have that big stupid, that new unit dropped that Warlord don't make a model for, and when you suddenly see there's one online, someone's made that, and it's just so weird because as I say, going back to my original point, 6-7 years ago, it was does Warlord have it? Does Rubicon have it?
Yeah.
Then a couple of individual manufacturers, maybe Artisan or so. Cool. Whereas now, you can build anything you want. There will be a model for it somewhere on the internet you can print. It's nuts how much it's exploded.
I have a CA10 that's in desert in winter with the winter rear tracks on it. It's out there. There's a 3D print of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how secure it is.
And it also kind of means for V3 as well that no matter what becomes good, no matter where the meta goes, no matter what becomes the new hotness, right, it'll be accessible. Because even if it turns out that you need to bring 6 medium howitzers to compete, guess what? You can 3D print a medium howitzer for £2. Add the crew on, box of plastics, and you're done. It's not. This isn't 40k. No one's gonna have to go and open their wallet up and spend £400 to get the new hotness meta. This it will literally cost you less than a curry on a Friday night.
Yeah. Well, having just been to TGI Fridays this evening, I can tell you a bolt action army is cheaper than a meal out nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's another thing as well, is that you're going to miss about V2, but it will carry over into V3, is the accessibility for anyone starting out brand new to get into it. Like the ability to just walk into a shop, pick up a starter army for 50 quid and go, that is a full army that you can use. And it's done. 2 or 3 contrast paints and you can have a whole army on the table within a few days. And that's something that you're not going to have in almost any other game, especially a war game. The only one I can think of is like maybe Blood Bowl because you only need 1 team, or Burrows and Badgers because you need like 5.
But they're stretching
niche, aren't they?
Yeah. And they're also stretching the definition of a war game because they're just skirmishy war games to me. Yeah.
I think I've had to try very hard to basically only have Italian. Because the amount of stuff I've either won, been given, came across, and it's so cheap. It would be so easy to just go, I'll have this.
Yeah.
And that's why I've ended up. The only reason I ended up with the Germans is because and I'll say this on the Tropical Falcon Jaeger, the Warlord Dude, the set of 10 metals, some of the nicest figures you will ever come across.
Yeah.
And I just love them so much. That's why I bought them.
It's like my World War One French. Talk about a niche subject, right? Like no one really makes there's a 28mm plastic kit from War Games Atlantic, but that's it out there. And yet, between just coming on the Discord and being like, guys, as like Dan was saying, I need some World War One French guns. Talk to me. Do you know what I mean? And just being able to piece these things together, yeah. So it will carry on, and I generally hope it. Pray it does, because that's one of the best. As I say, it keeps coming back to community, doesn't it? Keeps coming back to community.
Yeah.
And it's as I was saying in the last episode when I got called, whatever it was, Spurlie keeps calling me. Like
crybaby cheesy whacker. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't matter what the rules are, good or bad. Obviously, we would all like them to be good, but ultimately, it'll be the community that keeps it all going anyway. I'll still go to Barsh and tournaments because I still want to come and hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
I might fuck about at the bottom of the table with 2 tigers instead, but
I genuinely, when I got Best Sportsman in France, I genuinely had a tear in my eye when I went and collected my prize and my stuff. Because it was really emotional. It was the community are really good. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just go back and I'll work it off in my Zumba classes, it's fine. You just fit your twisted filter.
Are we doing some stuff that we won't miss from V2 as well?
Ooh. No,
machine guns being shite.
I was going to say, I've got one last point of goodness before we move on, but this kind of fits in, which is I'm going to also suck our own knob for a bit and just shout out our own Juggernaut format, because as a thing, pretty successful if I do say so myself. And also let's stretch it now. Well, let's also stretch it out to community documents. It's not just us who've, when Warlord have dropped the ball in terms of missions and stuff. The community's been out there when things like Heartbreak Ridge, everyone across the world knows how to play that. Yeah. And that's Brad Moran's mission for Australia. Like, Warlord didn't invent that. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, the Bi-Action Alliance. They
exactly, yeah. And like and lump it with the Juggernaut format, lots of people played it, lots of people enjoyed it. I certainly did. Good stuff.
The number of people that use it for their just throw down a load of stuff at home games with and also the fact that, to be fair, and people are already saying, well, if the Warlord one doesn't really work out, there's almost with Juggernauts will produce one and it'll be fine. So that will carry over as well if it's needed.
Try our best. But the thing is, it still works today, though, right? If you wanted to build yourself an army that's using slot points rather than the new multiple platoon system, you can do that. It's not nothing's changing in that regard. Still the same.
Yeah,
it always has been. Go ahead and use it. So yeah, that's and yeah, as to Dan's point, yeah, machine guns. Obviously, the Juggernaut format, we fixed them. They're a bit shit basic though. Yeah, I'm not gonna miss them either.
Yeah, I'll miss snipers. I'll miss them having a role.
I love snipers. I love snipers when people were like, snipers were shit, and then they brought all of their small teams and their light mortars and stuff, and they thought they were shit hot, and then you just go pew pew pew.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss V2's flamethrowers as well, because the V1 flamethrowers were too powerful, just auto hitting, and V3 flamethrowers sound really shit by hitting less often and running out of fuel on a 1 or 2.
They hit the same, don't they?
Yeah,
They're 4 up, aren't they?
Yeah, but they get a +2 if they're within short range, and they don't get a minus for long range anymore. So you'll always be on like 2s and 3s. Like
but
today.
you'll run out of fuel on a 1 or a 2, and you take.
Yeah, you run out. You run
fire.
out. Yeah.
But even just that on its own, the 1 and 2, that's enough for me to say, ugh, that's really might not be worth spamming them anymore. Might have 1 just for 1. Jump out of a truck, try and get that 1 thing, but no, you're going to die.
I don't know what the rules are going to be, but I won't miss templates on ambush.
Oh, yeah.
They've not changed that though, have they?
Are they not?
What? So
I don't
put in
think so.
something
Everything they needed.
indirect on ambush. Can you? Can't you? You know?
No, but it's even if someone runs in front of a HE and you sit there on ambush, and then they start to move and you go fire, and then you go, right, can you move all of your guys like 6 inches forward and just kind of pause them, please? Let me get me 10, but it's just, and I was like, yeah, let me pause, and they immediately spread them all out, like one of them was like, that's not how they were.
The amount of times you have to explain, right, move the first guy here, that's where I'm ambushing. Now, I'm going to put the template over where they all are currently. Count them there to say this is the formation you're moving in before you get to the end. It's like,
that's the sensible way of doing it, and that's what most people did. But there's always that one knobhead, and you have to have an argument about it.
I was just just make it the same as if they're in a building.
Yeah.
Do that.
I'd be all for just making blast weapons not template and just do the D3, D6, 3D6, 3D6 hits that they do against everything else.
You know what I'm not going to miss, and I'm not actually going to miss anything because we never played it, which is Turret Jam.
Still there though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least it's like it's not as big of a thing as it was all the time. Like it's a 1 in 6 chance of it happening now, not like a 50% chance.
I'm going to miss superficial damage not being its own table.
Yeah.
Because now I've got 2 tables.
I'm going to miss V2 being an overcomplicated rule book by having less rules than V3. Okay, now, a serious one that I won't miss. The wording for Recce. Because it was fucking useless and no one knew what to do.
Has it changed?
I don't know. I've not seen the snippet.
I'm not. No one's been talking about a change.
That does not bode well. All it needed to do was have like bullet points, and it says it must meet one of these rather than and or in between each sentence, and it just being one long paragraph.
Yeah,
that's all it needed.
Yeah, to be fair, I think it. From what I'm trying to think of things I've read now. I think it now just says you can go anywhere to try and save yourself. Yeah,
I hope so.
Which is what we always kind of played anyway. You know.
Yeah.
So I can drive closer to you if it takes me within your minimum range.
I don't know. I don't have a book yet. We're not Australian, so we haven't got one yet.
One thing I won't miss about V2, how they've not done a decent launch for V3 itself. Because like for V2 it was quite good, and for all the campaign books and stuff throughout the years, like especially the past couple of years when we've been reviewing all the campaign books, Warlord, but more specifically Osprey, would get the book to us nice and early so we can review it and get it out.
I know a lot of people always think that we're in bed with Warlord, and we know, and that we know more that we do, and we just signed NDAs, so we won't talk about it, blah 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 blah. If the fact that we still to this day don't have a review book doesn't convince you that we're absolutely not in bed with them, nothing will.
Warlord don't respond to our email requests for the rulebook. The only people that listen to us are Osprey Games. And Osprey are fantastic at getting us stuff. It's just that they have a release schedule for the rulebook, and it isn't out yet from them.
We're with everyone else. You know, we're in the same boat as everyone else. Once we get the book, like everyone else, we will dissect it like everyone else, and then we will come on here and spout out all our lovely hot takes. And I will cry baby my shit through another episode. It'll be great.
Put a note in your diary. 26th of September. Maybe we'll be live.
26th of September.
Yeah, maybe we'll be live. Maybe we'll all be in the same country.
I'm not going without a real work.
I'm not going to be in the country on that day.
Yeah, that's why the internet. Ooh. Yeah,
okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens. Yeah, how annoying is that? Like, once the book actually comes out, I'm not going to actually be able to play it for like another 2-3 freaking weeks.
Are you even going to be able to look at it?
No.
It's going to deliver to your hotel room in Budapest.
It's going to be delivered to home, and I'm going to be 1,000 miles away. Like, let me in.
I'm hopefully going to have a PDF copy sent to me with a physical one when I get it from Osprey. So I'll send you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or what you'll have to do
Thank you
is,
for trying to-
whilst you're in your hotel room, you can just ask us about different rules, and we'll flick through it, and then we're just like, oh. But then you won't know if we're telling you the truth or not. Because you
that's currently what everyone else is doing, isn't it? Like, the only people that have got books so far is like Australians, a couple of like the Warlord Raider guys, and then
shops,
like
all the shops that have bought
shops, which means every shop has got their favourite bloke who's been given a copy of the book because he's their TO guy, and that means in every community there's one bloke who has the knowledge, just like we have that one bloke who had the knowledge. I won't obviously share names and stuff because. It's shop books.
We'll call him
that's how
Rumour.
stuff's getting out, yeah.
You know, we'll call him Rumour.
Rumour.
Yeah.
But we've been on Discord with Rumour, and Rumour's told us lots of stuff. You know. So, you know, and the last thing I won't miss, and this is actually, I won't miss, this is happening now, and it's just annoying, I want to shout it out, is people telling me that I can't have an opinion on something because I've not played a game yet. I've also not eaten shit, but I know it's a bad idea. You've also
seriously, don't knock it till you've tried.
Dear listener, you've also not played the Juggernaut format, and yet you tell me it's shit all the time. So shut the fuck up. We're all allowed opinions. Try it before you buy it. Back off.
You know what I'm not going to miss? Multi-launchers.
No, you're not going to miss because they're still there.
In their overpowered form
Actually,
that they're currently in.
Better than ever because they now have spotters.
Yeah, better than ever, and you, because of the way the new commanders work, you can take loads and snap them all immediately and just rain hell on it.
You know what I'm not going to miss? I'm not going to miss fucking anti-tank rifles because they're shite.
Always have been, always will be.
Yeah, but if there's no tanks, you can effectively use them as snipers now, you know.
Have you seen people argue that they're better snipers than snipers now because the hit is pretty much the same, but their damage is easier?
That's not the compliment that they think it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, snipers are now almost dog shit.
So let's flip it then. Because we've kind of meandered into talking about the future and stuff. So what are we excited for? I'm excited for just change, and I'm excited for not knowing what I'm going to see when I go to an event. I was
just say exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
not knowing what is good. Like the list I wrote for a German army, and Dan's response was, "I hate the fact that this is actually viable." So
yeah, because it was It was like 2 small rifle platoons and then like 10 mortars or something. It was stupid.
It wasn't that bad. It was 2 Nebels, 2 medium mortars, 2 light mortars, a load of Gerbesjäger, and 2 engineers in field cars with flamethrowers and Panzerfaust.
Yeah,
but it was just like. It was a little bit of everything. Didn't lean all into one platoon or things like that. But there was quite a bit of indirect fire in there. I think I paid for 3 spotters in it. But then everything could, drop off the spotters.
It's going to be enjoying and interesting, especially for people like me that like to try and break a meta. It's going to be interesting because at the minute we think, or we kind of know that the meta is going to be as many artillery pieces or mortars or something like that in a platoon as you can get. So it's going to be good to try and find some way of countering that and building a platoon and building armies to counter that exact threat. The way we did with the French beating the Brits and, the old meta of the Gurkha spam. It's going to be interesting to overcome that at the start because everyone's going to do it.
Hopefully it will go the same way it went in like fantasy, which for anyone who's been keeping up with the old world, the very first week it came out, everyone was like, guns are dead, artillery shit, don't bother taking it. And then no one did. So then everyone just brought infantry and cavalry, and then suddenly everyone was bringing dragons because, hey, look, dragons beats infantry and cavalry. Haha, dragons are amazing. And then people went, well, hang on, actually, if I've got cannons, I can just shoot the dragon. And it's coming back round again.
Yeah.
And hopefully something like that will actually happen, which says someone will go, I've brought 10 multi-launchers, aren't I great? Haha. And then you have another player where, well, I have a fully forward deploying army that's on top of your face turn one. And then someone else will go, well, I've now brought 15 flamethrowers to defeat you. And it will just keep going cycling until
a middle ground. Paper scissors match is good. If you've got a bunch of this beats that, but that beats that, that beats that, that's great. But in V2, we didn't have that. We had Brits and Gurkhas in Bren's. That was a bad hit. No one really took anything else because no one really came up with anything that could rely to beat it.
I do like that. I find myself looking at units that I never really looked at in the past. So, like I've been a bit, especially on our Discord, been chatting shit, because again, not a lot of us have actual access to the book yet. A couple of us have played the odd practice game. So we're all great on ideas, but not great on experience. But when you're looking at tanks and you go, well, I could bring a Panzer, a Panzer 4 for 200 points, or I could just bring 4 light AT guns that'll sit there and just pling things off at freeze, putting pins out everywhere. And you think, actually, that's not a bad shout investment, especially when a Panzerfaust is 15 points now. Yeah, I could bring 3 Panzerfausts, or I could just bring another AT gun. So that's never a thought I've ever had when planning this for Germans, ever. It was always, what do you do for anti-tank? Oh, I chuck some Faust in. Done.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, ooh.
I haven't seen the army books in the rule book, but it'll be interesting to see what made that cut. Because you're not getting rule books for 3, 6, 9, 12 months after release, because I think the Germans are first a couple of months down the line.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what made the cut to get into the rule book that people can actually use to play rock, paper, scissors.
Don't ask British or Japanese players about flamethrowers.
No,
because they don't get
or anyone else what light machine guns and machine guns do.
But like case in point, light machine guns are 15 points now rather than 20, and with it being such a shootier style game, suddenly, do I want to put one on in my squad or not? Now, don't get me wrong. I personally think it's still not a great deal, but we got to play it. We got to try it out. We got to find out. So you got to play it to find out, and that's also why we've also talked about what we're going to do for mincemeat for a pack. And I think what we're going to settle on is just 1,000 points. Do what you want. 1,000 points. Do what you want, and let's just see what happens. Because we can sit here and try and stop banning stuff, but you can't ban a thing that you don't know exists. You got to break it first. If someone brings 10 multi-launchers, wins, and then they go off and win 3 more GTs with just nothing but multi-launchers, we might rein them in. But until you've actually played and seen it, you don't know that. They might have a really strong counter we've not worked out as a community yet. And I'm excited to work that stuff out.
See, I'm genuinely excited that Panzerfaust are not the AT, because for ages, all I ever ran was Label Paris, because they were the challenge you could get with Panzerfaust. Chase Blue changed that. You could actually then be viable and stuff. So if the rules is you can pin regular, as if they were in X, and you can have anti-tank rifles at 48 inches and light auto cannons and everything else, and I think that gives a whole, and light AT guns, which I own a bunch, it does give a whole opportunity for me looking at my army to go, I may have 300 Italians or something, like whatever it is, something stupid, but only ever the same 40 ever left the cabinet. I've got a feeling I can use all of them now. Well, certainly all to start with. And you guys will see stuff I've never brought before. We're bringing some First Auxiliaries, some Alpini, some of the native irregulars, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm the same. I've got Finnish models with machine guns that I've never ever used. So
I went and bought the Perry Fallschirmjäger early war light machine gun pack they do. So I was like, you know what? Running veterans with German veteran LMG at 15 points is viable.
Yeah,
I definitely think it's
I have a very, very early theory. If you're going to see a lot of artillery spam platoons, I think the best counter to that you can get in the game is going to be a Finnish army with a captain or a major, whichever one gives the most snaps, taking 2 of them and spamming Sissy Recon. So the whole army moves forward, goes down as soon as it's shot, moves forward, goes down as soon as it's shot, and then soon enough you're going to be so close that you can just blat it away.
And another thought I've had as well on that same thought is, what will you do if you do come up against somebody who has like 10 never worthers, 10 multi launchers, that kind of 10 howitzers, that kind of thing? But they've now upped the minimum ranges as well. So like a medium howitzer has got 36-inch minimum range now, and like. Cavalry aren't as good as anymore. Yeah, cavalry aren't as good anymore, because they get the mines to their cover save and charging goes simultaneously. But you know what cavalry will still beat up in a fight? A 4-man howitzer team.
Yeah.
So you can just run. I'm now in your minimum range. Screw you. Yeah.
That minimum range is going to be, that's the killer. For your howitzers are going to be good indirect because they can see anything from anywhere. Put them in the corners with a couple of spotters.
So I mean that might just be what maybe the community decides that what we need to rain these artillerists is just more terrain. Because if suddenly all tables end up being Stalingrad tables, you ain't gonna have line of sight with all these guns. And if you brought 3 spotters, once they're dead, you're fucked.
But if everything ends up being a Stalingrad table, then you're never going to move across the board anyway, because it's all rough ground. Nobody's going to see anything. Not just your howitzers. Your rifles aren't going to see anything. It's dense terrain everywhere.
Yeah.
My god, it would be such a
the rebirth of the
game.
Chinese guerrilla cells.
And
Deploying army that moves within minimum range immediately.
And they simplified outflank. And I was looking, I can get some cavalry, depending on the point, but I can get some inex irregular cavalry on outflank. And you know what? Yeah, actually, a couple of those, throw a couple of those in. It's like, what they're going to leave the army right sat in the corner.
What you have got
where they want to do it for the minimum.
What I have seen with outflank now, though, is they've clarified in the wording that you only reveal the outflank maneuver. If you've got more than one thing on outflank, you only reveal the thing that is coming on from outflank. Everything else
as everyone played it up until about a year ago anyway.
Yeah, where it was actually clarified. Right, well, they didn't even need clarifying because it was how it was written in the rule because you showed them everything.
Yeah.
But only once the first thing comes on the board.
So Alex in the chat, his hot take is that the meta may evolve to more Swiss army lists with a minor skew to one style of play. Which is, so you kind of like, you have your Swiss Army knife army, you bring a bit of everything. So rather than just bringing, 10 guns, you go, right, here's my 3 multi-launchers, here's my 3 mortars, here's my 3 tanks, here's my 3 squads of infantry. Do you know what I mean? And
like what I was trying to do with that German army.
Exactly. I hope it goes that way because that's just way more interesting to have lots of different
I
bits and bobs.
Want to see SDKF 251s and M3 M4 half track. I want to see them on the table. I don't own any, but I want to see them. I want to see armoured transport, particularly but not the bloody recce carriers. It's always recce carriers.
But this is the problem, right? If the armoured carriers become too good, you'll see people taking them in the recce platoon, and then they will all have recce, and then it'll be a race to the bottom to get the cheapest, most efficient armoured carrier, and that's all you'll see. So you can't. I put it to you. And tell me if I'm wrong on the internet, maybe I'm just being a crybaby. I don't think you can make Hanamags good without making Brens OP.
Crybaby cheese.
Because any rule that gives you but more than
if the Hanamag is half the cost of a Bren, because it's got half the amount of guns, then fine. But if it's the same sort of cost, you will take 10 points for the extra LMG, then you're right.
If people are running 3 or 4 AT guns, and because you can have them in the open now, because you'll get light cover with the shield, I can see people pairing them up. You ambush the first one, fire order on the second. That's how you'll be dealing with recce in the future, I think.
And you do it on the snap as well. So
you do the snap. You
put one on ambush, fire the
one on
next
ambush and one on fire. And it's like, pick your choice. I'm going to go for you one way or another.
I
think you'll see that a lot more because you'll see there'll be more light AT, or I think direct fire will take over from noble weapons as well because of the minimum range thing.
Yeah,
like how it's the like.
My bold prediction for this edition is Americans are going to go the way of the Beastmen and no one will play them. because they've changed how fire and maneuver works. It's
But they're still they're one of the starter box armies. It's like Germans. Do you know what I mean? Everyone, like, even if they're shit, people will still be like,
they are
the American army.
People will own them, and they might use them down a little bit, but then you're not going to see them at tournaments because the way they've changed their national rules now, it makes them basically.
Are you just salty because all your BARs are now useless?
No, because if they'd have kept it for just rifles, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
Because the thing about the firing and moving and not suffering the -1 was what made Americans Americans. If they bring it back in the rule book, brilliant. But the way they've changed it, it just makes them pointless. Because you need 6 men to have 2 extra shots. And as soon as one dies, you're only down to 1 extra shot. Well, that's not a national rule, mate. That's just nothing. 1 extra shot per 5 guys is absolutely shit. Oh, but 1 extra shot per 3 guys is absolutely shit. Not suffering the movement penalties was a good rule, and it made the Americans good, and it made them play the way they did and be aggressive. But now they're just a bunch of rifle infantry.
So, opposite side of that question then. What's your prediction for what will be the new easy mode army?
Germans.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Because they can take howling cows.
Yeah, but I still reckon they'll fall down the noob trap they already got, where it's like, I can have a SS Fanatic Waffen SS Assault Rifle guy with Panzerfaust to my squads now plus 300 points each track.
Yeah, you can do that. But I think at the top level, people will get more out of Germans than they do out of things, especially because of the initiative training.
Yeah.
The way that the Blitzkrieg works with snapping extra stuff, you've got all of the toys. You're allowed flamethrowers in your list, unlike the Brits. Combat was something that the Germans really suffered with last edition.
Your machine guns on vehicles aren't as bad either. Because you still get four shots.
Oh my god, give it a rest, you've convinced me. God.
Yeah, I think until the Japanese get their army book and get a stupid rule that makes them immune to everything, I think Germans will be the best.
Well,
by a long way. A long way.
There's a definite episode in there, isn't there? Revisiting the starter sets with the V3i.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah. We literally didn't have to redo everything.
Yeah. The trouble you have there, though, is that those starter sets, though, are put together for like generic reinforced platoon kind of things.
Yeah.
So if you look at them and you go, well, it's got 1 tank, and it's like, wow, it's no good. Like the new starter set that is coming out for V3,
but then
it does not have a legal force in it. So.
But we can review that, right? As part of the review, is like, how easy is it to take this and actually make it legal? That was one of the criteria we had last time we reviewed.
We did that. Most of our German army reviews was add a Puma or a P3 to this, and you've got a great list.
Yeah, no, you got a good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still think the greatest start of army is to just go to War Games Atlantic and buy 4 of one of the army boxes, and then just 3D print some guns, and you're done about it.
Yeah.
But cool. Right, should we go on to some Hobby Lobby then?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Is there no Q&A for this edition?
Not really, no.
Have you not done it?
No, got no. I think we're all kind of just saving it up because again, this is the calm before the storm.
At
this point now, everybody's questions have been answered for V2. Otherwise, why would you be bringing out V3? There you go. You see, no more questions, none whatsoever.
Yeah, let's just. I mean, look, next episode, the new season of the Juggernaut boxing format. We're going to update everything for V2, starting with episode 69, and that's not an accident.
But we'll have a collab on that because I'll be writing the WTC pack as soon as I get the rule book.
Wow, that's Ooh, that's exciting. But should we do some Hobby Lobby?
Go on then.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Right, let's.
He isn't here with the list of what everyone.
No, he's not been here for a few weeks now, mate. You can make it up.
Let's just do some transition time. There we go. That's just. Apparently, talking about edition changes, Helldivers had some nerfs and buffs, and the internet's on fire. So, if you want to see a real toxic community, and if you think bolt action's toxic, go on Reddit and visit r/Helldivers, man. It's a whole other thing.
A multiplayer online game having a toxic community. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
It's a co-op game, Dan. It doesn't matter, and yet they're still angry. Yeah, we got nothing on those boys. So let's talk topics. We do need Pete here.
I know what I pledged.
Let's start with you then, Dan. What did you pledge?
I pledged to finish my polearm peasants for my Bretonians, and there was like 46 models, something like that.
Okay, I'm ready with the soundboard. Did you?
I finished it and I put pictures in the chat.
There you go.
And do you know what? About 2 weeks ago, I got my fish tank, and since then I've moved my stuff downstairs. All of my painting stuff has gone away, so I have not touched a paintbrush since I finished those models. I literally finished them, packed them away, so I could move everything out of the office.
I mean, there we go. Owen, what was yours?
I remember it was to finish one of my converted helicopters for the Cassican, and then do it. So
I do remember something about a helicopter.
I do.
So since then, I've completed an entire Cassican army, all the vehicles. I've completed an entire Wood Elf army, stripped and repainted hundreds of models, and did loads of stuff. But
before we give you too much kudos, that was a long time ago.
It was like 7 months ago.
Yeah.
It's still probably done better than I would have.
It's still better than me in the last 2 years.
I've got to hold it up though. He doesn't get the wow. Because since painting those Imperial Guard, he then got absolutely slammed with them and hasn't played the game since.
Once.
And then once he then painted his Wood Elves, he took them up to 7th City, got absolutely slammed, and hasn't played with them since.
No, I came down here and got absolutely slammed, and then I haven't. I got the spoon, and I haven't played them since.
So.
I don't know, Matt. In Owen's defence, are you even a wargamer if you've not done one of two things? Fully painted an army, used it once and found out it was shit, like my Mechanicus army, or not fully painted an army, enjoy playing with it loads of times, and then when you finally get the gusto to fully paint the army, immediately put it away and never touch it again, like my Horus Heresy Emperor's Children army. Yeah, but if you've not done those two things, you're not a wargamer.
Yeah.
No, I've never done that.
Yeah, of course not. To be fair, you probably haven't ever played with an unpainted army because it takes you about 4 minutes to do it.
I have in the deep dark before times. And then when I was a young lad and I emerged from the Lady of the Lake with my Grail in hand, I pledged to never play with an unpainted model. And it's done pretty well for my motivation, because if I want to play with something, you got to paint it. That's that's the secret.
I do have an army that I can't play at the moment because I've got the original Valhallans all painted up as Soviets, and then they're all green vehicles, and I'd painted loads of Russian on them in white paint and everything else. And I don't think I'd be allowed to take that to an event now.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's going to have to just live on a shelf for a few years and wait for things to go.
eBay.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, if you eBay it, some twathead white nationalist skinhead will buy it off you.
Yeah.
I've even all the vehicles have even got all the logs on them. They've got improvised armor. I did the whole lot, and it's just like, I literally can't take those to an event now.
No. Do you have Ivan with his tractor robbing a Buxam as an objective? Because if you have, then you've gone too far. Oh, he's fucking got one, hasn't he? You're bringing down the podcast, Owen.
Oh my.
Have you seen it? Back there.
Fucking hell, he's got one. Jesus, what is wrong with you? For those people who are listening at home and you're not watching this on YouTube or live on Facebook, he's literally got a tractor that's straight out of BBC News. Do you know what I mean?
I even put it all down, converted it, and I've even put some of the Italian crew. I've got some of the Italian crew I've put in there as well. Yeah. No, I've done that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
My.
Did you not read the room of current international events?
I needed a tractor to go with my Russian army.
God's sake. Spurlie, what was your pledge?
Mine was twofold. And it was basically finishing off things. So finish off the Popskis private army, which I did. Mm-hmm. Because if I didn't, tomorrow would.
It would be illegal for tomorrow. Yep.
Yep.
Makes sense.
And the other was finish the Orcs for the Blood Bowl team, and I'm close.
Oh,
but I'm not done. So.
So
I was
failed.
so close to give you the wow, and you didn't do it. So close. I mean, congrats on like finishing your bot action army for tomorrow, because if you don't, you'll be in trouble. Like that's, props to you.
Yeah, it's like even the vehicles have got more than 3 colours on, unlike the SU-76Is. So.
Oh mate, that was just a travesty. They were. That's.
Yeah.
Still can't believe you got away with that.
It's good enough, wasn't it?
Well.
But what was Reese going to do?
Tell you to fuck off. That's what we should have done.
Vehicles, and you go, like, bear in mind this will have been painted by a squaddy, like, who's just been given a tin of green paint. You know, if you ever go to the museum, I always try and look at them with that view, and you go, yeah, literally everything that isn't supposed to glow is painted. And they'll even paint the exhaust and wait for it to burn off. I mean, it's that bad.
Yeah, but like, don't let realism get in the way of me slagging Spurlie off. Come on, give me this. Give me that moment. Come on. Right, what we pledging?
I'm going to pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Sorry, I just got excited about democracy there. Yeah, carry on. Sorry about that.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it can't be a big one though, because we've got less than 2 weeks until the next episode, haven't we?
Yeah, you've not got long at all. Yeah,
I'm going to paint every single model in the Star Wars Legion box. No, I'm not. I don't. Somebody else go first. This is going to take me a while.
Dan's going to paint a fish.
I wouldn't do that, mate. That's cruel to the fish.
Oh, okay.
What am I gonna? When's our next episode that we're gonna do a hobby lobby on?
Like 2 weeks time on the 26th.
I am abstaining. I like, in terms of hobby, I am going to do none. In terms of stuff that makes me happy, I'm going to get my fish tank up and running and cycling.
I'm going to do a pledge for you, Dan. You're going to come to club on Tuesday and play in our mini old world event. One day. That is hobby. There we go. I'll help you out.
Yeah, and I will use only fully painted models. How about that?
Yeah, you've not been to club for a while, so let's do that. There we go. What am I going to do? I've also only got like a week, so I need to be really careful. I'm going to finish this unit filler. There we go. Can you see that on the camera? There we go. Look, you know from the Battle of School Pass?
That's fucking old, that model.
So
is that a 10th thing?
Yeah, it's a 10th thing. Yeah. So you've got this little goblin here with a bow. That's Owen. That's yours. I think he's older than me. That goblin there with a bow. He's a cajillion years old.
The metal one.
Yeah, it's the one you sent me in the package. Yeah, so he's in there. This got crushed in the car park at club.
Is that
and
one?
Then because
that one is it?
Yeah. So Aaron gave it to me, and then because he gave me loads of stuff to like help me out with my models, and then as I was carrying it to the car, it like dropped off, and I didn't notice. And then like a week later, Conrad was like, "Did someone leave this in the car park?" And it was just a really mangled, messed up like old tent. I've managed to stitch it back together, but there is like a hole in it, like on that side. You can just kind of see it doesn't fit together very well. You'll be fine. It'll be fine. There you go. I'm going to finish painting him. Which, if Dan's anything to go by, will take me 30 seconds. There we go. Hobby.
That's a nice, easy one. Spurlie, you should pledge something like that.
Yeah, I've got one model. This guy.
Oh, that's the guy from ChillCon?
Yeah, I'll get him done.
Is that Dr. Octopus?
No.
I don't know. They had this cool new weird game they were giving out free models for that I can't remember the name of, so how's that for marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Well done.
It's when when you go around
it's
conventions.
all the merch for ChillCon's got that model on it.
Yeah, and everyone on their dog is trying to tell you that you need to buy into their brand new game. The UK Games Expo is brilliant for this, and you're like, yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, no, I won't. And he's just keep on. Okay. Bless them, they do try so hard. But if I was to try out every single game that I've got like advertised to me at one of these conventions, like I need to retire first. Once I've retired and I don't have like a job, I don't have like wife and kids to look after and a mortgage to pay, then I will play all these games. But until then, I just don't have time. There we go, Spurlie. You can paint your What are you going to use him as? Dr. Octopus Tentacle Man.
I don't know. I might just paint him up and put him in the cupboard. You know, put him in the cabinet in the glass cabinet. You know.
Okay.
What could you use him as for something you already do? Is he kind of human?
No, it's more like a cross between. It's like a Necron alien.
It's like a Necron tyranny thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to get more. We need to
Eastman Lord or something.
What you need to do is you need to get in the car and drive all the way down to Brighton, and play boarding action with Owen.
Oh,
Chuck it in there.
What you mean? 40k boarding action.
Because, yeah, I've got the new boarding action book. If you haven't got it and you dialect, I think great.
It's all right.
Fantastic.
Billy and Matt, they've got it at club. They were playing boarding action a couple of weeks ago. So there we go.
From what I understand as a non-40k player, or at least a not often 40k player, is that boarding action is like the only way to play it in any serious capacity without it blowing your brains.
Yeah.
It got me. I painted a load of scenery earlier this week, finished the load off, just because it just adds to it. But yeah, 500 points. Yeah, it's pretty good. And the new book is fantastic. Got loads of different armies in it. That goblin is 1987.
1987.
It's an 87 goblin, yeah.
That's older than I am.
Yeah.
Love it. and look, he gets to count as 6 goblins now because look, it's the base size. There you go. And then when
amen to unit fillers.
And when your dragon charges in and wipes out 10 of them, I can just go, he's 38 years old, he is. Ooh, there you go. Whatever old he is. There we go. He's old enough to have a mortgage and kids. Be a granddad by now. What you pledging, Owen?
I'll finish my entire German army, because I won't be on for the next 2 weeks. But I've got 2 heavy autocannons turning up. I've got a Panzer IV got the Rubicon model, which is really good because it's got the I've got the one with the quad 20mm. And then I'll finish all the infantry.
That's a weird way to pronounce 5 Nebelwerfers, mate. That's odd. You need to work on your German there.
I've only got the one Nebelwerfer.
Only the what? We need to start weeks older.
Until you're worthing multiple Nebels, it's just,
Dan, do you remember, from the WTC in Ireland when I brought 3 or 4 land matches of Dave, and you were like, "You're crazy, man."
Yeah.
He's crazy now, dickhead.
Well, I say that I do own 4 medium howitzers for my Americans and 4 for my French. So yeah. I have 7, and I'm sure I can find another 1 or 2 somewhere in my cupboard.
It wasn't crazy, Dan. It was investment.
Yeah,
that's all it was. Yeah. Right. Speaking of investments, let's invest in our future and send ourselves off with our last. So, Dan, this is going to be your last joke of V2. So no pressure, because it's going to be next episode's going to be V3, man. It's going to be a whole new thing. So make it worthwhile.
Okay,
I'm ready.
So, I was once dating a girl with the same name as my mum. It was really awkward. She wouldn't let me say her name during sex because my mum didn't want to think about my girlfriend.
That's a bit too close, man. That's too close to real life for me. I don't like it.
No, don't like that.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
I'd just like to say, for the end of V2, goodbye to everybody. I'll see you in V3.
I can't.
Right, I've turned the sound off, but it's still playing.